This is the iPhone 12 mini and this is my favorite phone in a very long time. But that doesn't mean it's the best or the perfect phone for 2020, but still it's a reminder of how a smartphone was intended to be right from the beginning this smartphone revolution broke out. This is a compact flagship phone for 2020 and yeah, we should give credits to Apple for not skimping on the specs or the build quality with this mini. Because this mini has the same internals as that of the iPhone 12 and hence from a performance and user experience perspective, you're getting the best. Apple's A14 Bionic chip is the processor used, and that is paired with 4 GB of RAM along with 3 storage options, which are 64, 128 or 256, whose respective Indian pricing is shown here. And yet this baseline pricing, which is approximately 70,000 Indian rupees, is not the variant majority should be buying because of the 64 GB storage, out of which approximately 56 GB is available to the user. That is gonna be tight in the long run, and it's always safe to get the 128 GB variant. And yet this processor being the fastest right now in a smartphone, every task you do is smooth and lag-free. Opening apps, sending messages, scrolling through a feed, making a call, browsing the web, taking a quick photo, or even playing graphic intense games is very fast and enjoyable. Now since this form factor is compact, unlike the regular iPhone 12, this mini did get a bit more warm while doing heavy tasks, but still it's not like the back is toasty. And about the RAM management, you don't have to worry about it. This is iOS and it's very optimized for low amount of RAM, and hence 8 apps did stay open in the background, and also even if a loading was needed, it happened without letting you wait a lot. And yet this display that you're going to enjoy all the content is one major doubtful side for many because of the fact that the phone is a small phone. And after my usage, I would like to section the display answer into two parts. One is that the display panel by itself is a great one. It's a OLED Full HD panel with 476 ppi of pixel density, and yeah, the bezels are very slim, but you still have the notch. And concentrating on the display's quality, you'll love it. Viewing angles are impressive with sharp colors and deep black, and also the brightness that the display can peak at even with standard content is more than enough for outdoor use under direct sunlight. And if you're watching HDR stuff, well then the max brightness will almost double up to 1200 nits compared to 625 nits for standard contents. So that's all great, but here one thing I did notice more compared to the bigger notched iPhones is this notch itself. Well, the notch size didn't shrink, and if you're taking use of the full screen for watching contents, then this notch was a bit more evident. It's not gonna spoil the experience, but that's something I did notice. But then this notch area is the spot that houses the front camera and the Face ID sensors, and Face ID is something which in normal scenario is a very handy and impressive unlocking method. The Face ID setup in the iPhone 12 mini is I guess same as the one in the iPhone 11 series, and therefore the speed of unlocking and the angle of unlocking hasn't changed compared to the 11 series. And now the second section is the experience that you're getting from the display. Well, even though the phone is a compact one whose size is a midway between the original iPhone SE and the second generation iPhone SE, the display size is 5.4 inches. And that does sound to be close to the iPhone 11 Pro's display, which is 5.8 inches, but here the thing is that the width of this display is less. And what that creates is that one-handed use factor is very easy. This is a true throwback and you can without any difficulty reach the corners, and hence one-handed use thing is something I enjoyed. Typing a message is so much fun, and I've got used to this small keyboard and now I could quickly do a type with just one hand. And even pulling down the notification panel or the control center, all that can be done without much stretching. So that's a big thing for me because this iPhone mini feels like a phone and not a tablet, and what that means is that your video watching and gaming experience won't be very immersive. I've already told about how the notch being more evident, and also since the display is not big, media and gaming entertainment is not going to be like what you're used to from any modern phone you're using now, but still it's not like a bad experience, and indeed it's a good one, but surely it's not something that's going to be great. So if you're a person who loves to watch a lot of movies and play a lot of games, well then you need to know what you're getting into if you plan to buy the iPhone 12 mini. But I feel everyone who's about to get the iPhone 12 mini might be the ones who want a small phone, and probably they will or they should be aware of this stuff. So now that we have checked the performance and the display and the experience you get from it, let's check the design and the build quality of this mini. Now in the beginning of this video, I did state that Apple didn't skip on anything, and that's applicable even with the design and the build quality. The design theme of the iPhone 12 mini is identical to the iPhone 12. The frame is aluminium and the front and back of the phone is glass, and the front glass is Apple's ceramic shield, which is claimed to have 4 times better drop protection, and from some of the drop test videos I have seen, the claim seems to be correct, but still this can get scratched like any glass phones, and hence I'll surely recommend a glass screen guard. And about the back glass, well, it's a single piece like the iPhone 11 glass, and it has 2 finishes where the camera is housed in this matte portion while the rest is of gloss finish, and this back glass is a fingerprint magnet, especially with the color I have, which is the blue one. And by the way, there are 4 more other color options available, which are the black, white, red and green. Now, even though this is a fingerprint attractor, there isn't any scratches right now, and that's applicable to the side rails too. And either side key or the power button is still located on the right side, and the volume buttons are on the left side, and the mute unmute slider is located just above that. And these buttons, they do have excellent feedback, and the only port, which is the lightning port, it also works fine too. But then right next to the lightning port, the speaker, which is this one, has lesser grill, and also the sound output from this dual stereo speaker setup is not as loud as the one in the regular iPhone 12, but the quality seems to be good. And here overall, this is a well put together mini phone. I have moderately big hands and the mini does look a bit small in my hand, but I love this form factor. These flat side edges and the compact nature of the phone has elevated the comfort of holding it, and even carrying it in a tight jeans pocket is very easy. Since the phone is not a huge one, and also given the fact that it's a lightweight one, it's a very easy to carry phone. And overall, I'm happy with the design and the build quality of this mini. And another thing that I'm impressed from this mini is the camera system used here. It's the exact same hardware that's used in the iPhone 12, and the processing is same as what we get from the iPhone 12, and therefore this mini is one of the best in terms of camera performance. On the rear, there are two 12 megapixel cameras, in which the main wide sensor has f1.6 aperture and the ultra wide angle camera has f2.4 aperture, and both these cameras have support for all the neat software stuff like the night mode, deep fusion, and also smart HDR3. And the shots from the main sensor are pretty impressive no matter which lighting situation it's been taken. There is sharpness and detail along with great dynamic range, and even shots which are tough to capture are taken in a well optimized manner. But with the ultra wide angle camera, well, it's a good one if the lighting situation is good and you can take pretty good shots in such a scenario, and it's an handy camera. And here, even when the light gets dull, since there is support for night mode, you can still capture usable ultra wide shots. And overall for photos, I'll rate the iPhone 12 mini as a great option, and surely it's on the top 3. And with the videos, it's without any doubt one of the best options. It's mainly because this one takes the exact same videos you get from the iPhone 12, and even though the 12 Pro series has slight advantage with 10-bit Dolby Vision HDR with 60fps support, well, other than that, for regular HDR videos, the 4K 60fps clips are sharp and crisp, and surely if you want, this can be used as your mainstream video camera. Stabilization is perfect, and same is the thing with focusing, and overall the exposure shifting issue is not much present, and even the color reproduction is spot on. And now checking the front camera, well, it's a 12 megapixel camera with f2.2 aperture, and this time there is support for night mode as well as deep fusion with the front camera, and the smart HDR3 does improve the selfies compared to the selfies from the iPhone 11. There is more clarity and the processing is better, and even if it's a dull lit environment, the selfies look neat. And on top of that, the videos captured using the front camera is again very sharp and smooth, and hence this is a great camera for vlogging. So overall, if camera performance is very important, the 12 mini will surely impress you. But then what's not gonna impress you is the battery backup. Now this shouldn't be a surprise because you can't beat physics. This is a compact phone, which in turn does make the battery inside a small one for today's standards, and hence this is not a one-day phone even for moderately heavy users. I did test it in different usage patterns, and my observations are, if you're using it in a casual pattern where the things you do are just social media browsing, internet, then you do make calls and also send messages and do watch YouTube videos and also use the camera a bit, then the screen on time is roughly in the 5.5 hour range. And if this usage style is spread throughout the day, well then if you start the day at around 7 am, you'll be bummed with the low battery allowed by probably 8 pm. But if you use the phone like a heavy user where there is plenty of gaming and using camera a lot accompanied with other casual stuff, well then the screen on time will drop down in the 4 hour to 4.5 hour range. And if this is the usage pattern, then this mini will power off by 4 pm. And hence if you're a heavy user, it's probably safe to skip the mini and check the iPhone 12. But I guess people who are gonna buy the mini will be the ones who prefer not to extensively spend their time on their phones. They might be doing majority of the big screen stuff in their laptop or iPads and just use the phone as an extension of those products. That's how things were 4 to 5 years back, and during that time, even a phone like the iPhone 5s did last fine for a day's use. So this mini is such kind of a phone, and it's the main weak point of this mini. But since the charging technology has got better, the mini does have a backup, and hence if you use a fast charger, this does charge at a quicker pace. I did test the charging speed with a 10-watt charger, and with that a 30-minute charge did top up 50% of the battery, and when I did try to charge the mini from 0% to 100% with the same 10-watt charger, the charging time was 1 hour 45 minutes. And also this mini does support wireless charging as well as MagSafe charging. So now that we have an idea about the battery, let's focus on another good thing with the mini, and that's the call experience. The earpiece is a pretty good one, and its calls did sound great. And also since the form factor is nice, I did enjoy making calls with the mini. Then a couple of other neat addition is the IP68 rating, which has now submersion of 6 meters for up to 30 minutes, and also this little guy does have support for 5G. Now 5G is not yet available in India, and hence the battery test was all done in LTE, and also I'm not sure about the 5G speed this phone is gonna get because the Indian unit doesn't have millimeter wave 5G support. But then the LTE speed has been improved compared to the iPhone 11, and so that's a good thing. And about the number of SIMs this phone support, it's 2, in which one should be nano SIM and the other is eSIM. And by the way, when 5G becomes available, from what Apple has specified, if you want to use 5G, then only one SIM should be active at that time. And lastly, the Bluetooth version of this phone is 5 and the Wi-Fi version is 6, and there is also NFC as well as ultra-wideband chip. Well, that's everything about the iPhone 12 mini. And like I said in the beginning, this is my favorite phone in a very long time. The form factor is just perfect, and even with such a compact nature, Apple is offering a proper flagship experience with the 12 mini. Specs are strong with future proofing for at least 4 years, and the display, even though not big, is of adequate size for most of the stuff, and importantly, it's an excellent quality panel, and even the camera is a true flagship stuff, and other minor details have been done with proper care to offer the best experience. And actually, the only main thing that you'll have issue with is the battery backup, and if you're a user who can manage with that, well then this mini is a truly great phone. But for the majority, when they spend this much money, a more value thing is what they look for, and personally, if you're not very much into compact form factor phones, the one I can without any doubt recommend is the iPhone 12, because that phone will offer everything this mini offers, and it also doesn't have the battery backup problem, and as well as the display, since being a bit more big, offers a slightly improved media experience. That's all for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, a like is much appreciated and a sub will be great. See you again in the next one. Till then, bye.